Hi, welcome to Mind Your Own Music Business. My name is Jesse Goldberg, and my guest today is Mike Lynn, or Michael Lynn.
Michael Lynn.
Michael Lynn, you've been here before. You're like how many times? One or two?
Just one.
Just one.
Just one.
You
I was here with
partner.
Tim last time,
right.
yes.
Right, he's your partner, right?
Well, he's not my partner.
He's not?
Well, but yeah.
Not that kind of partner.
Not that kind of partner.
Oh, okay. Anyway, you have this company called New Life Digital Media, which makes CDs.
Yes.
Actually manufactures CDs.
We're actually the only company that manufactures CD in the pretty much the metro area.
Right.
Almost all of Tennessee. There's a couple on the outskirts, but we're the only people who do it in Middle Tennessee.
So before we get to that stuff, and this is the CD in here, I'm shaking up. Before we get to that stuff, let's find out about you now. I met you, you were my stockbroker.
I was your stockbroker. I don't know,
right.
Probably about 1998, 1999.
Right, and you had to go through all that stuff, number 7 test or something. What is that?
The Series 7, the Series 63, options, principal. There's numerous tests you have to take because I was the manager of the office there.
Right, you used to work for Quick and Riley.
Quick and Riley, down on Dedrick Street.
Right.
Did that, worked for Quick and Riley from, I guess, 1992 to 2004.
Until they got bought.
Until they got bought out by Bank of America. Bank of America had a larger presence here in the Nashville area, so they kind of ate us up, and they already had a manager, so they offered me a different job, or 13 months of severance pay, and I opted for the severance pay.
You still got it?
Would you?
So now you're in a new now you're in a new business, right?
I am.
Now, how did this company come about? It's some kind of a Christian company or something, right?
Well, the company was started by the gentleman we were talking about earlier, Tim, and Tim had been a broker in the business, in the CD business.
What's a broker in the CD business?
He's somebody who doesn't have a factory to work for him. So what he does is he'll go out and get the business, and then bring the business to a factory like us.
Oh, okay.
And then we'll make the product. He's essentially a middleman. He does all the work, and then he gets compensated. We get compensated.
Right,
It goes that way. So he was a broker. He had the idea to start the business, and he had somebody help him with financing and stuff like that, and the fella ran out of money about a little over a year into the business, which wasn't enough time to get it started. So Tim and I had become friends, and after months of looking at the company, it was in no position financially to continue on. So what happened is he had to put the company into bankruptcy because it was losing so much money. And so what happened was he came to me and said, "Mike, I think this is a good model," and blah, blah, blah. I looked at the numbers, I went through everything, and I decided that I would help him out through the bankruptcy period. I became the debtor in possession of the company. And from there, we had to make a lot of changes because the company was bleeding pretty heavily. And when we were able to shed a lot of the debt, and
right.
We were able to shed some of the payroll and through cuts and things like that, and make the company a lot more leaner. And then we were out for a good part of a year looking for someone to buy us. And what happened was eventually New Life International, which is a Christian company. It's a nonprofit Christian company. They do ministry. They came along and made us a profit arm of that nonprofit business, and they asked me to become the president to continue moving the company through the changes that were ahead of us. And we were able to, through austerity and streamlining and changing a process, getting the right people in place, we were able to turn the company. Well, now you do.
Wow.
It was a long road. It's been a long road.
So you weren't originally New Life Digital Media? You were something else?
It was another company. It was called Linear Logic, and that's where Tim had started the company.
So the New Life, the name of the company that bought you, or whatever it was,
is called New Life International.
New Life International, and okay.
And we are New Life Digital
So they have
Media.
other businesses.
They have some real estate holdings and other things that make them money also, yes.
All right. So what
But I don't do any.
What happened to that
I run New
Band-Aid
Life
business?
Digital Media.
There's some Band-Aid business
The
going on for a
Band-Aid
while.
business is moving along also. It's called Band Angels. That was another invention of Tim's.
I thought that was pretty cool. He had
It's
Band-Aids with say Christian sayings on them or something?
With Bible verses.
Bible
on them.
verses, right.
And I wish I would have brought a box if we were going to talk about it. I would
Right.
love to be able to show it on TV. It's a fantastic product, and that's moving forward too.
Yeah, it's like instead of Flintstones, Band-Aids, or whatever they have.
Exactly.
Dora
the
Band-Aids,
Explorer,
right.
whomever.
They have Christian Bible sayings.
Exactly.
Right.
And Tim got the idea because his granddaughter was diabetic, and she was constantly having to check her blood, and every time she had to do it, she had to put a Band-Aid on there. It was Dora
Right.
the Explorer, whomever. And one night he said, why am I putting Dora the Explorer on here when I could put the Healing Word of God on it? And from that idea, Tim was able to take it from an idea to a band angel, and adhesive strip.
Right now, when I saw this, you were looking for a place that manufactures, and the only place you can find them cheap enough was in China.
I think that they finally found a place down in Florida that they're manufacturing. Again,
Okay.
I don't work in that area either. I run New Life Digital Media.
But is that part of your whole big company?
That's part of New Life International.
Oh,
It became a part of New Life International.
Oh, okay, so that's good.
Yeah, a lot of things going on.
Yeah, wow, you're a successful guy now.
Not me.
Oh. All right, let's go.
You're talking about somebody else,
Let's
not
get
me.
the CDs and see if we can get it close. What I have in here is crystals. I probably can't see them on there, but I have some out here. This is what a CD starts out as, right? And you manufacture. You said you're the only one in the area that actually manufactures them.
We're the only company in the,
Well, you can see a little
Nashville
bit.
area that does it.
If I turn it too much, it'll spoil.
And what you
These
see
are little crystals.
is optical grade polycarbonate.
I knew that.
And
No, I didn't. Optical grade
optical grade polycarbonate.
Anyway, let me put it back in here before I spill them all. And what happens? Now you have this other thing here, which looks like an ashtray or something.
Yeah. Well, what we do is
What is this thing?
This is that optical grade polycarbonate. Essentially, what happens is I can tell you a little bit about it. When we buy this,
Right.
we buy this optical grade polycarbonate. We buy it in bags that are
Right.
1,760 pounds.
Okay.
That makes roughly 50 to 55,000 CDs. And when we turn our machines off at night, or we start them up and start them up in the morning, what we have to do is purge the polycarbonate out. That polycarbonate gets injection molded, so it gets essentially melted into a disc.
But what is that? Is that a mistake or something?
What this is you can see all the air bubbles in it and the discoloration. Well, you wouldn't want that on your CD. So what we have to do is purge out all the air bubbles and all that discoloration.
And
once we get clear once we get clear polycarbonate coming out,
it turns out to this thing.
it
So all these little crystals.
It kind of turns into that.
All these crystals turn into this.
Exactly.
A clear. But this is what they put on top of your CDs when you get done. You know, when you get done, this is like the clear one.
No, well, I can explain the whole process to you, and I can explain it to you with, I don't know.
Yeah,
this
my
looks
CD.
familiar. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
called A Rough Life.
Right.
And this is a Jesse Goldberg CD.
Yeah, I used your company right there.
And,
Okay,
and
let me hold them up because on the camera. Start with me.
So what this is you gave me a call. You
right,
said,
this
hey,
is
Mike.
what I gave you. I
want
gave him a CD that was done in the studio, right? Just with my own label and everything.
Yeah, and it was mastered, and
Right.
that is a master of your disc.
Right, okay.
You call us up, you called me up, you say, hey, Mike, I'm ready to run It's a Rough Life again. I redid it. It's a couple of songs on
Right.
there. I said, how many you want? You said, I want 1,000 of them. And I said, okay, Jesse, get me your master. You send me your master in.
Right, I gave you that.
And when we get your master, what we have to do is we have to turn around and take your master and get what's called a stamper. That's a stamper, and this
Right.
is made of nickel.
This is a stamper.
Yes, and just like
So how does that work?
when in the old days when you
Look
would
at
have
that.
a
I got it right in the
record.
camera. See that? Look at that. I can make the camera go blind. Woohoo, look at that. I'm doing that. Okay. Anyway, go ahead.
Fascinating.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Do that again. I'll do it on this camera.
And essentially, like in the old days when vinyl was made,
All right.
there was a
stamper, right?
A stamper,
And that's what they stamp the actual
impression,
right? Okay.
and onto vinyl.
Gotcha.
So what this is an inverse of your master.
Okay.
So that when we put this, which can take the heat and compression of the injection molding process.
You put that on there, and that turns
this
into that?
comes into that sits on one end of the
Right.
injection molder. The plastic comes through, and
What is that thing?
that's where it comes through. And you can hold this out like this, and this is what's called a sprue, and this has to just get broken off because this is where the injection molding comes through. The plastic gets pushed through there.
Okay, but this is too complicated.
It's a little complicated,
Right.
but you can figure it out.
This little screw here, whatever.
The
What do you call
sprue.
it? Sprue?
That's what it's called. It's a
Oh.
sprue.
Okay.
Now, what's interesting about this, if you look at it, Jesse, is you see
let me
how
hold
it's,
it
and I don't know whether the camera can get it or not, but you can see how nice and clear it is in the center, and then
Yeah.
it's all cloudy.
Yeah.
Well, it's all
true.
cloudy there because all the information's already on it.
The information's on this already?
Yes, it was injection
Really?
molded on here through this stamper
So
process.
this has information
This
on
has
it?
information on it, and the reason it won't be able to play
Yeah.
in a CD player is because it has to get reflected back to the laser. So the laser will shoot up and just shoot
Is this
right
the
through
backward
this.
information?
That's the forward information. That's
Okay.
the real information. If you were to have a metal coating on this,
All right.
this would play something.
After you get done with that, we wind up with the final.
We have to put a metal coating on this.
There we go. Let's see what this is. That's my dog on the CD right there. That's Monkey Goldberg, and that's the cover of my CD.
And that's
Right,
it.
that's it.
And then what
Okay.
we wind up is with a disc that looks like that.
Oh, now what's the difference between replicating and duplicating?
Well, let me.
You replicate.
We replicate and
Right.
duplicate. Replication is primarily for larger runs, 1,000 pieces and up. Duplication is primarily for 500 pieces.
Well,
and down.
duplicate stuff I can do on my own computer.
Duplication is exactly what you would do on your computer.
And replicating. And I know that the replicating one looks kind of silvery, and the duplicated one has a different.
Has a
look to it.
different what happens on a duplicated disc, or a CDR as everybody would call them,
Right.
is that disc is made essentially the same as this disc is made, except what will happen is a CDR will be made and it'll just have like a record group that starts from the inside that goes out to guide the laser through, so that when you burn it, it will go out from the inside out. The laser will have a guide. And what they do is they take that and they put a dye on it that's sensitive to that laser that'll change characteristics.
So why is a replicated one better than a duplicated one?
Why is a replicated disc better than a duplicated
They seem to
disc?
play on. They seem to play on everything when duplicated ones don't play on everything.
I think that the jury is out on duplicated disc as far. I don't think that there's a quality difference per se, because a master is made on a duplicated disc.
Right.
But the jury is out on how long a
How long it'll last?
CDR will last. Yeah, and
Right.
because if you lay it in your car and it gets exposed to heat, or if the dye will fade
So you think
inside
that it's
there.
possible the replicated ones could last longer?
Well, the replicated one is an imprinted version, just like a record.
Right.
The vinyl isn't, unless you leave reheat the vinyl and flatten
Right.
it out, it's not going to change its characteristics.
Right.
So we know, I shouldn't say we know, but we know that it should last a lot longer.
Right,
I think the
okay.
funny thing that people should really realize is that on a replicated disc, everybody thinks that the bottom side is the critical side, and it is critical because scratches will affect the way the laser
It's
shoots
the
and
top
everything.
side that's
But the
important?
top side is the most important side, because what happens is there's pits put into the disc, and they're right on this surface. And so this is just the regular surface here. So that's why that metal coating gets put on there, not only for that, but to protect it. And
But what
then
about the
there's also a
labels that-
lacquer coating on top of the metal coating
So
to
you
protect
tell me
it.
that the disc plays on the top?
It plays on the bottom, but the pits are all on this side of the disc. This is a flat surface. This is a flat, shiny surface. The pits are all on this side. So if you scratch this,
Right.
you're essentially cutting through the pits on this side of the disc.
And I don't know what a pit is. What's a pit?
There's a pit and a landing, and what happens is just it's digital, and the laser is looking for, just like a record groove, it's looking for ones and zeros and how long the one is or the zero is or whatever. And so it has to be in that sequence in order for it to get.
Does the label in any way affect the type of label you put on it? Affect what?
No,
not at all.
Nope, because
fact,
that metal coating isolates it.
So the label kind of would protect it a little bit.
A little bit.
Right.
But if you scratch the side of the disc,
right,
you can kiss your disc goodbye.
All right.
Forever.
So
this side you can.
So you're the only company that actually manufactures this in Nashville area?
Yes, we are.
I mean, I've been in your plant. You have all these big machines that that do all these things that get the stuff out and stuff.
Yeah, we're the.
Now, what are some of the ways people now? Who CD is supposed to be going out, right? So what? Who buys these things now?
It's funny, I told you my history here with New Life Digital and the company it was beforehand. I've been doing this now, I guess, a little over 6 years, and back then they were telling me that the life of a CD is going to be between 5 and 7 years. Well, now we're in 6 years, and year over year our business is up 18%.
Well, that's better than the GDP of the United States.
Yeah, a lot better.
But what other way are people going to convey their music?
Well, people,
I mean, the people aren't like the Tim McGraws of the world, how?
The music industry has changed dramatically, and I'm sure you probably know, and it's going to continue to change. People, the way the business was run before with these long runs from the studios and record labels and things like that, I think probably are going to be more of a thing of the past than the guy that we sell to, who are probably singing in bars, singing in churches, go to fairs, go to events like that, because they need a point of sale item.
Well, it's a big markup, because if they can, we're not supposed to mention prices on it, but if they can get a CD package, hold one for like $1 a piece, they're out there selling them for between $10 and $15 a piece.
And it's all money in their pocket.
Right, that's a big amount.
That's correct.
And there's no record company or anything else. So
that's correct. And there are a lot more even bigger bands are becoming independent, because they don't see the need for the big record labels as much as they used to, and there's still places for them. But with the internet and every other way of being able to advertise and push your product out there.
Right, if you just want to make money, if you're out there just to make money, like I know that, it used to be, I don't know what it is anymore, but I remember like the break-even point of a major act was like, you got to sell 800,000 CDs or something. It's like, who sells that,
Exactly.
So, I mean, but for me, if I sell 10,000 CDs, oh my God, I'm rich.
Sure. And
10,000 CDs at a $10 profit is $100,000.
Exactly. You did good.
Right. And these guys don't even make a penny until they sell 800,000.
Until they're pushed past it.
Right.
Yeah. It's a changing model, and the world of music is kind of changing, and it kind of, even with the big stuff. I mean, Best Buy is, if you go into Best Buy, I don't know if I can talk about stores or whatever, but if you go into a store like that, you can see the CD section is getting smaller and smaller, because they have to make up
less choice.
Well, less choice. They're only keeping the new stuff. It costs money to have space in the store. Blah blah blah. It goes on and on, but it's still a great medium. It's still the best medium from my perspective.
Until something else comes along.
Until something comes along.
Right.
And as bandwidth becomes more readily available and better, and you can download good quality files.
Well, right now the quality
MP3
is worse than the CD quality.
It is. It's just compressed, and it's not good at all. Well, and from my perspective, a lot of people nowadays, as the generations get conditioned to listening to earbuds and MP3s and things like that. I think they, when you and I were young, you throw on Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon.
I was never young.
And you would listen to the whole album all the way through, and through a pretty nice stereo. It was important to just sit and listen. But nowadays, Kids throw in earbuds. They have the computer going, the TV
you know,
going.
You know I sell records,
driving.
right? And people are still buying vinyl.
Vinyl.
Vinyl has become very popular.
I went into a used CD store the other day, and 3/4 of it was vinyl.
Yeah, people are buying it.
New and used.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I don't get I don't think vinyl sounds better than CDs, but people tell me it does.
There's a warmth to it, but
only because you can't hear the different parts.
Yeah.
I still think CDs sound. I mean, growing up on vinyl, you know, with a pain in the butt to every 5 songs turn the record over.
Turn the record over. You get the pops and the clicks.
You can't listen in the car.
To quiet stuff. It's.
I mean,
there's ways to maintain your
records. I can't believe
if
that
you have a lot of money to do
this year we're still having a conversation
about
vinyl, right?
Exactly.
But let's go to before we run out of time. Let's run into some of these. These are some of the products that you make, like the different kind of things. Other than here's the normal. This is a normal jewel case, right?
Yeah, I wanted to bring yours that was in that type of packaging, but I did, and I forgot.
But we don't have to show this. This is a normal CD jewel case.
It opens like this.
Knows
here's a different configuration where people use.
Let me hold it, Mike.
Open it up. It has 2 CDs.
Oh, I got
there's a
you make all these, right? I broke it. So don't buy these kind of things. These are the normal ones you see, but you make all these different kinds that anybody would want?
Exactly, different types of configurations.
I'll fix that later, okay. Well, what are these things
This thing is, what's that's called is a digipack.
A digipack?
Yes.
Now this has a different kind of cover. I like these better. Is there more people making these or the jewel cases?
This is becoming prominent. Actually even like digipacks aren't as popular as they used to be because people are more earth-friendly, I guess, and
what are they making now?
They make it just straight cardboard. So this happens
What's
to be.
What's this called?
This is a.
What's the difference between digipack and straight cardboard?
This one has the plastic.
Oh, the plastic. Okay. Oh, straight cardboard.
Straight cardboard all the way across.
What did I get? I don't have. I have straight.
You have straight cardboard. Wallet, you have a sleeve. Do you have a wallet? No, you have a wallet because it has the inside.
You have to open it. Forget it.
It has the inside. That's a 6-panel wallet.
I have a 4-panel wallet. This is So this seems like it makes more sense because these always break. The jewel cases always break.
There are benefits to this,
right?
And because they don't break, they're lighter. If you're traveling, it costs less to travel with it. They don't take as much room. There's a lot of benefits to it. I'm an old school guy.
You like CD cases?
I like CD cases. I like that I can put them in my collection and see from the side that
I don't like the jewel cases. I've had too many. I got thousands of them. They're all broken.
And I brought these because
the Beatles. Did you do this one?
No, I kind of.
What is this? This is a digipack.
This is a 6-panel wallet.
6-panel wallet.
And has a booklet in there. And the reason I brought this, I wanted to just discuss.
What?
And I don't know what we're supposed to talk about with price, but if you go on iTunes, you can buy this album
for a price. All right, we can't mention prices, right?
Okay, for a price.
Right.
And this is where the business is kind of odd because you can go into a Best Buy and buy it for the same price or less than you can buy it on iTunes. But when you go to Best Buy, this is what you walk out with. You walk out with a wallet,
like everything.
A book.
You don't just walk out with
you got a CD, and then what you can do with this is put it on your iPad.
Right.
And your iPod or whatever it is. I'm saying there is a value to having this.
Of having a product rather than just having a...
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
I agree with that.
And when you're paying the same amount,
I'm a hoarder,
and you don't even need the internet. You don't even have to pay $75 a month for internet to download it.
Right.
You know, you could just throw it in your CD player and it'll play.
I personally think there's a value to having things too.
So
because you can play, you get more flexibility as to where you can play it.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't. My theory on stuff is that if you give people something worth buying, they'll buy it.
Well, that's the whole thing. I think what happens is a lot in the music industry, as we go back to that conversation, is I think that they forget about value. The labels and some of these people who are putting out CDs, because you can go buy a DVD for $10 and there's a cast, there's film, there's this, there's that, for $10, and then you could go buy not supposed to talk about price, but you could pay more for a CD, and there's 4 people in the band, and it just doesn't make any sense.
Well,
and sometimes they don't do it. They don't give you any value at all. Nowadays, they're starting to put videos on there. They're giving you a little extra
Can you
value.
do stuff like that? Can you make video?
There could be videos on there, yes.
Is this something that you can do?
When we do video, we farm it out because we don't have a DVD machine.
Oh, okay.
But
you should do straight music.
Straight CDs.
And are most of your customers people who
Pretty
independent
much.
people?
Pretty much. You'll see some of our stuff in Cracker Barrel. You'll see some of it in Best Buy and places like that. But a lot of our customers are independent people. And a lot of them are also people who weren't independent and are now.
Right. They like the guys who
have broken away from the label or old like, enough, like for
like
example,
the Merle Haggards and things like that.
Exactly, or the Alabama.
And they make more money now than they've ever made.
We don't do Alabama, but yeah, they're making more money than they probably ever have.
Yeah, because they're actually getting the money for it.
Exactly, they'll go out to a fair or something.
Well, the advantage of a record label is always because they give you the publicity, they get your name out there.
Correct.
And then after that, then you go out on your own. You're like a Clint Black, you can start making money, even though I think he went bankrupt or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know what happened to him.
I'm not going down that road.
Anyway, we're just about out of time.
That was easy.
There's something here.
This is something. This is and I hope there's something in here. I don't know if there is or not.
But what is it?
What it is it's just a different type of innovative packaging that one of the guys in our office came up with.
Wow, this is really cheap.
And
this is just a thing and a.
We just put this in there to bring it to a show.
You know what else?
What it does, but what this does, the advantage of this is you say it's cheap, but what it does is it gives you 4 panels.
Right, Mike. We got to get going. Let me just say that I used you once, and I just got a spindle of CDs.
We can do
I just
called bulk CDs.
Yeah,
and
just
then
bulk
you can
CDs.
do it yourself.
I'll do whatever I want. Anyway, we got to get going.
That was quick.
Yeah. So this is Mike Lynn from New Life Digital Media, the only place that actually manufactures the whole CDs in the metro area.
Yeah.
And my name is Jesse Goldberg, and we'll see you next week with another edition of Mind Your Own Music Business.